Emancipation Proclamation.
Welcome to Sunday ReSchool. I am your host, Wayne Walton. Each week, we'll have an episode where we reschool believers of how Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, and Buddha each forbid usury money monopoly. This money monopoly, known as Mammon, finances puppet politicians, fake church leaders, and both sides of engineered wars. Mammon uses the money power to engineer hate, division, scarcity, and racism. That's why we're jubilists and supporters of usury-free, anti-monopoly money. Each week, we'll explain how each of the great prophets forbid usury money monopoly. In fact, usury-free money and debt forgiveness jubilee have always been the Creator's natural law. We're not meant to live our whole lives as debt slaves serving Mammon. Please check out Sunday ReSchool for a One Love monetary reform activist revolution. Humanity's best days are ahead, and we're going to beat the bankers with barter script. Sunday ReSchool, it's time to unlock the secret power of the Ark of the Covenant to flip pyramids. Episode 1. The money monopoly invented governments to be their own Patsy. Why should you listen to this episode? Number 1, don't be duped into thinking that government is the source of evil. Government tyranny is a symptom of corrupt monetary systems. The bankers are pulling a false flag on the government and make them the patsy for their own tyranny. Number 2, the bankers are deliberately engineering conflict between debt slaves in government and debt slaves outside of government. The bankers want a bloody civil war. The bankers' power grows when debt slaves in and out of uniform are in conflict. Number 3, we support the non-aggression principle, but competing currencies alone will not free humanity. Don't be duped into the con of competing currencies. Just like the competing political parties con, or the competing TV news networks con, or the competing oil versus nuclear versus fracking natural gas con. Today we have thousands of TV channels which don't tell the truth. They're not really competing. If we dissolve government tomorrow, we would still be working for the exact same monopoly bankers. The bankers own all the land, commodities, utilities, oil companies. They own all the communication system. Everything is held as collateral and is in the bankers' hands. The bankers are the creditors, and we human beings are the debtors. With the government dissolved, we wouldn't have to pay thousands of taxes and fees. That would be a good thing. But your mortgage, car loan, food, utilities, and gas for your car would all still need to be paid with bank monopoly money. Which kind of monopoly money? Well, the bankers own all the land, therefore they own all the gold, silver, and petroleum mines. The petrodollar is backed by petroleum mining. Before the international petrodollar, the international gold standard was used by Rothschild in the Bank of England. Before that, debt slaves were enslaved with monopoly gold and silver for thousands of years. Jesus got violent with moneylenders who were using silver shekels. This was thousands of years before the Federal Reserve. Money monopoly is the root of all evil. Today, the bankers can borrow all the money they want and buy the biggest computers on planet Earth. Therefore, they control all the biggest mines of Bitcoin or any machine-based cryptocurrency. The bankers control all the machines, not the have-nots. The common man or woman doesn't have a mega computer. Regular people can't mine Bitcoin, gold, silver, petroleum, diamonds, and uranium. Sure, People can pan for gold, but they'll never have close to the same amount of gold as Rockefeller and Rothschild. They have monopolized commodities for thousands of years. This is why the Bible tells us not to worship the golden calf. Listen, I've got gas in my car, but I don't control the petroleum market. The petroleum monopoly is used to control me. Similarly, gold, silver, Bitcoin, and Federal Reserve notes are all issued by the elite in order to control humanity. Remember the golden rule? He who has the gold makes the rules. That doesn't mean a guy with a double eagle gold piece makes the rules. That means the money monopoly who owns the gold mines make the rules. Those who issue the monopoly currency make the rules. Monopoly money is the root of all evil. The money monopoly invented governments to be their patsy. In the Bible, the money monopoly is known as Mammon. Mammon has been around since before the Bible. Mammon is 5,000 plus years old. That's thousands and thousands of years before the Federal Reserve. Back then, debt forgiveness jubilees were the law, even before the Bible. Why was usury-free anti-monopoly money and debt jubilee forgiveness the law before the Bible? Because Mammon can create debt slaves even without governments, without the Federal Reserve, without the Illuminati, without corporations or central banks. Remember these universal truths. Borrower is slave to the lender. The government borrows money from the bankers. Remember this one from Napoleon. The hand that giveth is higher than the hand that taketh. How about this? Money rules. Money monopoly alone rules as a sovereign entity in and of itself. It does not need government. He who pays the piper calls the tune. Everything that we hate about our political and economic system, all of that is financed by the bankers who love it. The money monopoly is control over humanity's reward system. All living things seek pleasure and avoid pain. We are all motivated by the carrot of rewards or the stick of pain. Think of the money monopoly as the reward system and the government as the stick of pain. The bankers want humanity to focus their pain on Patsy government. They want us to see the stick of pain implemented by the government. The bankers want us to focus on a cop shooting of innocent people. The bankers want us to focus on puppet politicians like Barack Obama drone bombing weddings in the Middle East. The bankers want you to focus on Israel's IDF shooting and killing of unarmed Palestinians. Mammon does not want you to focus on who finances all of this evil. Follow the money when you investigate a crime. The money monopoly does not want you to realize that obedience can be created with rewards alone. We can train a dog to sit, beg, and retrieve with rewards alone. Obedience can be created with rewards of money alone. Similarly, the banks can train human beings to beg and do millions of other tricks with rewards alone. Working at the TSA is a soul-stealing job that obedient debt slaves do for rewards alone. How many times have you sold your soul for Federal Reserve notes? How many marriages have been destroyed over lack of money? I know I've sold my soul in order to earn Federal Reserve notes, where due to fear of the future that you wouldn't be able to provide for your family or pay your bills, you end up doing things that you're not proud of. And that's because of a corrupt monetary system. That's why they have the phrase starving artists. We should be able to create a life where our life is our own work of art, but we can't do that within a scarce monetary system. So it's essential to understand that the money monopoly is the sovereign on planet Earth. It's pulling a false flag on government and blaming it as the Patsy. The money power is a sovereign entity in and of itself. Now, while I support the non-aggression principle as solid truth, thou shalt not steal is solid truth through the ages. However, libertarianism, Austrian economics, and anarcho-capitalism are all based upon the lie that government or the Federal Reserve are the root of all evil, that force alone is the root of evil. This is a very attractive deception. Who doesn't get pissed off when they see the police beat down Kelly Thomas? Who doesn't become enraged when they see a cop shoot a family dog? But that anger is manipulated just like it was for 9/11 or Pearl Harbor. The bankers want you to see red and stop thinking. They want us to be divided and conquered. When our ego takes over, we get angry and go after the Patsy. This is the only way that 0.0001% of the population is able to control the masses. This is how we are divided and conquered. Brothers and sisters, please realize our common enemy is just like Smeagol from the Lord of Rings. It has very, very little power of its own. It relies upon deception in order to use our rage and our energy against ourselves. Rothschild and Rockefeller and Morgan are like Smeagol, who are vile creatures, but no worthy adversary to powerful, soulful believers. In the spiritual world, we have overwhelming power, overwhelming superiority. We just haven't believed in ourselves enough yet because we've been lied to since birth. That's why Mammon wants to corrupt our souls. Smeagol exists outside of us and within each of us. Smeagol is our own self-doubt, greed, paranoia, and self-limitation. As soon as we conquer our own lack of self-belief and self-limitation, we will very quickly and rapidly prevail over the money power. Mammon has a massive Achilles heel which will permit humanity to win in less than a year. As Mammon rules with a tiny minority, we can win with a tiny minority. How? Humanity must believe in itself and issue its own anti-monopoly currency. Monetary reform where the have-nots issue their own money will defeat Mammon in less than a year. Our technical challenge is very small. We only need to produce paper in digits. It's just a database. We can easily beat the bankers and win our emancipation and create an entirely new future of abundance, justice, and peace for all humanity. Each county must issue its own money from the bottom up, then network these systems. If a community can issue high school football tickets without corruption and fraud, then they can issue our money. Similarly, businesses can issue gift certificates, coupons without inflation or counterfeiting. Therefore, they can issue our money. If they can do all of these things without counterfeiting, corruption, inflation, and manipulation, we can absolutely issue our own currency from the bottom up. Since each community will have a common, fixed unit value of 1 hour currency, ours can then be traded physically and digitally worldwide without currency exchange fees. With our money, humanity can script the future of its dreams. There will never be a limitation that lack of money is an excuse for us to not achieve some worthy goal. Don't let Mammon dupe you into thinking that our only possible future is civil war, zombie apocalypse, and survivalism. Humanity can cross over to the promised land very quickly as soon as believers believe in themselves. The greatest way to demonstrate that humanity is valuable is for humanity to issue its own money backed by its own humanity. Human beings are the creators of our most valuable creations. Our gifts, creativity, passion, and love are the most valuable things, not false idols of governments, corporations, constitutions, greenbacks, gold, silver, Bitcoin, Federal Reserve notes. Our humanity is our greatest gift. Music, songs, artwork, theater. How would usury-free anti-monopoly money play out in the real world? This past week there was massive drama surrounding the Bundy Ranch and the BLM. The Bureau of Land Management was pitted against land and gun rights advocates for a big showdown. The bankers' plan to pit debt slave versus debt slave was going perfectly. Debt slaves in uniform against debt slaves out of uniform is the perfect strategy to keep humanity conquered and divided. The Bureau of Land Management stood down for now. But there are thousands of similar events every year where the bankers steal land from humanity. Here's the real fundamental solution to the Bundy Ranch conflict. Create a local Our Money franchise, then hire the Jubilee Sheriff full-time and permanently. Or offer the existing sheriff a better deal, or just replace him. Any sheriff working for Mammon's monopoly money does not represent the interests of the common man. Once the people hire the Jubilee Sheriff with their own anti-monopoly Our Money, then the sheriff will work for the people. Then we can even hire the Bureau of Land Management agents. We need to offer them a better deal. What kind of things can we give them? We can give them their full pay, full benefits, and everything they're making now with our money. Additionally, we can give them their house. We can give them their car and all their debts forgiven. Let's offer all humanity a better deal than what the bankers are offering us right now. Jubilee, let it be.
Don't let this world that you're living in be run by crooked snakes. No, no more. I won't let this world that I'm living in be run by crooked snakes. No, no more. Chop, chop. Revolution for the time that we're living in. Teaching love and respect to my children.